Sometimes life does not change because our circumstances change. Sometimes life changes because the way we look at it changes. Hello everyone, I'm Saima Badar and welcome to another episode of Life's Reflections with Saima. Today, I want to talk about perspectives, about the quiet realization that two people can look at the same life and still see two completely different worlds. One person sees pressure, another sees purpose. One sees endings, another sees beginnings. One feels trapped by silence, another finds peace within it. And perhaps that is the strange beauty of life. The world outside us may remain the same, but the word within us changes everything. We live in a time where people are constantly chasing something: success, recognition, approval, perfection. And somewhere in this endless race, many people have forgotten how to simply exist, how to sit with themselves without distraction, how to enjoy a moment without posting it, how to feel gratitude without comparing their lives to someone else's. Sometimes I wonder, when did life become so loud? When did we start believing that being busy means being valuable? That exhaustion means achievement? That slowing down is weakness? The truth is, not every pause is failure. Sometimes a pause is healing. Sometimes silence is clarity. And sometimes distance is necessary for understanding. Life has a strange way of teaching us lessons we never asked for. Through heartbreak, through disappointment, through loneliness, through the moments that quietly break us from within. But if you look closely, those moments also reshape us. Pain changes perspective. It humbles the ego, softens the heart, teaches us what truly matters. And suddenly, the things we once considered important no longer feel meaningful anymore. The need to impress people fades. The need to prove yourself becomes smaller, and you begin craving simpler things: peace, sincerity, honest conversations, meaningful connections, a life that feels real. Sometimes wisdom does not come from books. Sometimes it comes from watching the rain in silence. Sometimes it comes from sitting alone after a difficult day. and realizing you survived something you once thought would destroy you. And sometimes wisdom comes from people, the kind ones, the patient ones, the ones who carry pain quietly, yet still choose softness. Because truly wise people rarely make noise. They understand life deeply enough to know that everyone is fighting battles we cannot see. And maybe that is why kindness matters so much. Not performative kindness, not temporary kindness, but genuine kindness. The kindness that asks someone, "Are you okay?" and actually waits for the answer. The kind that does not judge people for where they are in life, because every person carries a story behind their smile. Some people are surviving things they never speak about. And perhaps the greatest tragedy of modern life is not that people are disconnected from each other, but that people are disconnected from themselves. We distract ourselves constantly with screens, with noise, with endless scrolling, with temporary pleasures. But silence forces us to confront ourselves. And not everyone is ready for that. But healing begins there. Growth begins there. The moment you stop running from your inner world and finally sit beside it with honesty, life becomes different. When you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That single shift in perspective changes everything. Because maybe life was never against you. Maybe life was shaping you, preparing you, softening parts of you that needed softness, breaking parts of you that were built on illusion, and teaching you that peace does not come from controlling everything. It comes from understanding that not everything was meant to be controlled. Some things are meant to be accepted. Some lessons are meant to humble us. And some endings are actually hidden beginnings. So today, if life feels heavy, if your heart feels tired, if your soul feels overwhelmed, pause for a moment, breathe, and ask yourself gently, am I looking at life only through pain? Or am I willing to see yet another perspective? Because sometimes hope does not arrive by changing the world around us. Sometimes hope arrives through the way we choose to see it. This is Saima Badar, and you were listening to Life's Reflections with Saima. Until next time, protect your peace, stay kind to your heart, and never stop looking deeper than the surface.